Adam here from the Walser Automotive Group. What I want to do today is take you on a test drive. So next to me here, I have a 2026 Subaru Forester Wilderness. We'll look at the interior, exterior, some of the trim level specifics, then go for a spin around, see what it's like out on the road. All right, so now we're behind the wheel of the 26 Subaru Forester Wilderness, and this is a pretty cool addition to the Forester lineup. Now, you might have noted they changed it last year for 25 with the new updates for the Forester, but they didn't bring the Wilderness now until 2026, and I'm really glad they did. There's a bunch of really cool equipment in here, there's some cool style, and if you're planning on hitting the off-road or the trails, this is the one you're gonna wanna look at. So now before we dig too much into the details, let's put it in drive, we'll go for a spin around. So let's begin with what powers the Subaru Forester. Now it's a 2.5 liter flat four, and that's gonna give you around about 180 horsepower, and that's gonna be about 178 foot-pounds of torque. Now there also is a Forester hybrid, so if you're looking for that option, they haven't done the Wilderness with that one yet, but I feel like that might be coming somewhere down the future. Now, some big changes for the 26 Forester Wilderness would be that they made the suspension a little bit more comfortable on-road and also made it more compliant for off-road usage. So you really do notice it when you hit some of those sewer drains or kind of like dips in the road. The suspension is really soft and comfortable. It does provide a little bit more ground clearance, where this is 9.3 inches of ground clearance. I think that's about 0.6 inches more than the standard Forester. So you do notice it when you kind of see one next to another one, but it's not like a lifted vehicle that's way off the ground. I actually prefer it. Makes it really easy to get in and out of the vehicle. The door opens really nicely, so you can just hop in and you're off and running. Now, from the Forester, they did change a few other things with the Wilderness, like the final drive ratio. So this is where it gets a little techie, but you go from a 3.70 to a 4.11. Now, what that means is if you're out on the trails, you're able to conquer those with a little bit less wheel spin, because that total kind of final drive ratio will help you out if you are doing a little bit more serious off-roading. Now, this one with the departure angle as well and the approach angle is going to be a little bit better when compared to the standard Forester. But again, this isn't like a full-blown off-road vehicle. This is just something they figured more people might be hitting the gravel roads or some light trail duty to get to a campsite. This also can tow a little bit more. So from 1,500 up to 3,500 pounds, they've improved that. So if you've got one of those smaller campers, you can haul that with you behind the Forester. Now, looking at the exterior of the Forester, you'll notice those cool daytime LED running lights. As well, they added LED fog lights to this model. So they figured if you're going off-roading around to the Wilderness, you might want a little bit of added light, whether that's for the snow, rain, or fog. So having those LED lights does make a pretty big difference, and it also looks really cool up front. That's one thing with the Wilderness. You get this kind of bronze accented treatment around the vehicle, whether it's in the grille, on the roof rack, on the back, or on the inside. It just flows really nicely, especially with this auto green color. It's a really good color combo, and I think suits this vehicle very nicely. Now, a few other things on the outside. You're going to add a 17-inch wheel with the Yokohama Geolander, and as you can hear in here, it's a really quiet off-road tire. It's not the most aggressive. It's not like a full AT off-road tire you'd expect, where you get all that noise and kind of the hum. It's pretty silent on the highway, yet when you need that bite and traction, it can certainly provide that. Now, one big thing with this model, you also get the X mode. So what X mode does, you can set between snow and dirt or deep snow and mud, so you can kind of fine-tune your driving style with the symmetrical all-wheel drive. Now, it's important to note that all Subarus are going to come with a symmetrical all-wheel drive system. It's not just set for the Wilderness, yet it's really cool because you don't sacrifice a ton of fuel economy, as this vehicle still gets pretty great mileage with the 2.5 liter four-cylinder, yet it gives you the bite and traction you'd want with the symmetrical all-wheel drive system. Whether it's snowing or just raining, you've got plenty of traction pretty much at all times under your right foot, which is really good and very safe. Now, speaking of safety, the Subaru Forester will give you a lot of great safety equipment, whether it's through the eyesight or just all the other technology in here. I mean, when I hopped in, I paired my phone up, right? We've got wireless Apple CarPlay in here, so you simply have a wireless charger down here, so you're not messing with your phone when you're on the go. Now, the wireless CarPlay is great. I believe it's an 11.6-inch display. It's going to give me text messaging, Google Maps, Spotify. It's all built into here. And with the iOS 26 update, there's also another fourth screen they've added now. So if you haven't used that, it's kind of got the clock. It'll show you like your calendar. Looks like I'm shooting a Subaru Forester today. And it can also provide you the weather in there, which I really do like. Now, there's also a backup camera built into here. So one cool thing when you're using the X mode and you put it in that snow or dirt mode, it actually will pull up that backup camera, but there is parking sensors around the vehicle. Obviously, when you pop it into reverse, the camera's gonna pop up as well. Just makes it really easy because this is a little bit of a larger vehicle, but parking it is just a breeze, especially with the parking sensors and the backup camera. Now you can tell I'm at a stoplight here. When you put your foot down on the brake, it will use the auto start stop. So what that means, it will help you save a little bit of gas, yet it's not a harsh transition. Some of the older vehicles, I know people always look for a way to turn it off, but I didn't even really notice it. When I was cruising around this morning, it really just does kind of help you save a little bit of fuel in the end, but not in an intrusive way. And kind of back to some of those safety features with the eyesight system, it's also very non-intrusive. So on the steering wheel here, we have our adaptive cruise control system. So it's really cool. You have a full digital gauge cluster. So you can actually pull up a different screen to see when you click the little steering wheel icon on the steering wheel here, that's gonna be your lane departure mitigation system. Then with the adaptive cruise, you can set 4, 3, 2, 1 kind of car length or distances ahead of you. It's gonna keep that distance on the road. I can also see the blind spot, whether it's the blind spot monitoring in the mirror or on this physical digital cluster here, which is really cool. Kind of hard to show on camera when you're driving around, but it gives you kind of like a little half moon shape so you can see if someone's in your blind spot. And then some of the other eyesight stuff that's going to go in here, like emergency braking. If you've got the vehicle with someone approaching, it can even stop. So there's lots of really cool safety built into these vehicles. From there, let's talk about the ride and drive again. So like I said, with the added ground clearance and the suspension reworking, it's so nice in here. It is super windy and not a great day to day, a little cool. So when I'm in these StarTex material seats, these are actually going to be heated for the driver and the passenger, and I'm really comfortable. The steering has that perfect kind of balance of light yet heavy enough where you don't feel like you're floating all over the road. It really does provide a very comfortable ride and drive. I always recommend the Subaru Outback and Forester to people when they're looking at new cars, just because it kind of provides to me more of a German luxury style ride and drive when comparing with maybe like Honda, Toyota, or GMC. It's just very quiet and always comfortable in here. Now, a few other things inside the vehicle. This one will have a power tailgate out back, or a power lift gate rather. So when you click the button, it will open it up. You can also do it on the key fob, which makes it really convenient. And then the seats, the treatment on the back of the seats is a little bit different in the Wilderness. So this one comes with kind of a harder rubber cover. So they probably figured you're gonna throw a mountain bike or your gear in here. So having all that set up, not tearing into the back of the seats, is also really nice. And then it adds kind of a different cargo cover in the back. It's got some topography on it. It looks really cool and also can be very usable. You can just take it out and hose it off. Then some of them will also come with the all-weather floor mats, which is really nice. Again, that topography look that runs through the vehicle just gives it a very outdoor feel and look. Then into the second row, you got vents back there, whether that's for the kids or for the dogs or anyone you're hauling with, and then USB and USB-C charging. But that 60-40 split seat is also really nice. So there's a little physical button you can pull in the back, so you don't actually have to walk around to the second row. You can just pull that little button, it'll knock the seats down for you, which makes loading up your gear, whether you're doing a cabin run or, like I said, maybe going out mountain biking, makes it pretty convenient for you that way. Then into the driver's seat. It's really nice in here. Like I said, I always like getting behind the wheel of whether it's the Outback or the Forester. It's just a comfortable place to be. Like I said, these StarTex seats, when I had it on level 1 heated this morning, it's about 45 degrees out. I had to turn it off almost after about 5 minutes. Even just level 1 gets pretty hot. So they do heat up really nicely. And then you do get the appointed steering wheel here with the stitching, that bronze that runs through, and it's just really comfortable on your hands. You do kind of have the little paddle shifters behind, even though it's a CVT transmission. If you want, you can kind of manually change through the gears, have a little bit more fun when you're behind the wheel. And then there also is a couple different kind of selectable tunes for the drive mode, so it just gives you a little bit kind of more torque and power right off the go. And then on the left side of the steering wheel, like I said, the digital gauge cluster is really cool. You can actually pull up the maps or just to kind of have your standard gauge and look and feel in there. And then the other button on the left side of the steering wheel just gives you kind of a quick glance at some of your more pertinent information. Some of your trip computer stuff, what you're maybe listening to, whether your music, what do you got going on. It's just nice. It's not overcomplicated, yet it's easy because it's right at your finger's reach here. And then you also have voice control. So if you're a Siri user with Apple CarPlay, you can just click that button, it will pull it up and you can use the commands that way. Again, just keeping your focus and attention on the road ahead. Now, one other thing in here is kind of like the 3/4 sunroof. It's not quite a full panoramic sunroof, but it really does open it up, especially with kind of the darker interior that the Wilderness models have. Having that really lightens up the interior. I love the kind of mix of the gray with kind of the darker charcoal, and then it also kind of gets this little triangle design that runs through the vehicle. I think it works really well. And again, these seats are just so comfortable. It's going to be power on my side with a lumbar control as well. So if you're eating up a lot of miles, hitting the road, going on a road trip, running the cabin, you are going to be very comfortable the whole time you're behind the wheel. Now, one other button that's kind of cool, you can pull up the backup camera here. So when I click that button, it's also got a forward-facing camera. So I can see what's going on in front of me if I want to. That just makes it really convenient. If you're trying to see maybe like where I'm at now is like a blind intersection, to click that button and get a look to make sure no one's coming through the crosswalk, again, that is a great safety feature to have. Then the climate control in here, it's going to be a dual zone climate control. So there's physical buttons still kind of remaining on the side, which I do like, or you can control that through the infotainment screen. This one also is going to have the built-in navigation. So if you want, you can go through and use that. If you're not paired up your phone, it's kind of, I think, like a TomTom situation that works very well, but just easy ways to have some fun and take this vehicle on an adventure. And that's kind of really what Subaru is all about. I think they say 58% of people that are looking at the Wilderness have dogs. They want to go outside, they want to get your dog in the back. I love that I could kick the seats down, or you can add like one of those little hammocks in the back. Yet the StarTex material wears up so nicely. I've seen this over the years now. It's not prone to like cutting or ripping. If the kids are spilling food back there, you can wipe it off really easily, or even those little dog prints, which is pretty cool. There's just a lot to like here. Like I said, the ride and drive is so comfortable. That really is the biggest selling point to me. That little added ground clearance, I mean, it really does make a pretty big difference when you're behind the wheel of the Wilderness. Now, we do have to touch on the pricing. So pricing for the Wilderness is going to start MSRP-wise right around $39,000. So this one has a few added little options like the HomeLink mirror, or this one also gets the Harman Kardon sound system. That is definitely worth the upgrade. If you're considering it, you're listening to podcasts or music, or you're kind of an audiophile, that is certainly the upgrade to go with. But I mean, if you're looking at the average new car price at about $50,000 nowadays, this is coming in 10 grand less, and you're getting a bunch of technology, safety, great equipment, and I think cool style on the outside. Plus, you can even throw the roof rack up above or a roof tent. This will hold up to 800 pounds of static weight. So you can pretty much have the whole family camping up above. There's just so much fun and cool stuff with this new Forester. I think it's definitely one to add to the list to come out, take for a spin, and see what you think. Now, that was just a quick look and drive at the 26 Subaru Forester Wilderness. Now, if you have any other questions or you'd like to schedule a test drive, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by either one of our Subaru locations. We'd be more than happy to help. Thanks again for watching.